Think about it. Every project you take on, it's like a journey into the unknown, right? You've got a map, you know your destination, but what about all those dangers and discoveries that aren't marked? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. And that's really the big question, isn't it? Every project is a journey, but are you truly prepared for those unexpected turns? In the world of project management, we have a name for these potential twists and turns. We call them risks. And trust me, getting a solid handle on this idea is your first step to a successful journey. So let's get down to it. What exactly is a risk? The official definition says it's any potential event that can impact a project. But here's the part that really trips people up, the part that's so important, positively or negatively. We're all wired to think of risk as something bad, a problem just waiting to pop up. But that's only seeing half the picture. A risk could just as easily be an unexpected shortcut or, I don't know, some hidden treasure you find along the way. And that idea perfectly leads us to the two big categories of risk. I want you to keep thinking about your project map. On that map, you're going to see two kinds of markings, potential dangers and potential discoveries. In project speak, we call these threats and opportunities. All right, let's break this down a bit. Over on the left, you've got threats. These are the ones we all know and, well, dread. The things that can blow up your schedule or your budget. But look over on the right, opportunities. These are the good things, the positive events that could actually let you finish early, save a ton of money, or even add some cool new features you didn't plan for. A great project manager, they don't just plan for the bad stuff, they're actively looking for the good stuff too. Okay, so now we know we're on the lookout for both dangers and discoveries. The next thing we need to think about is the map itself. You know how some parts of a map are super detailed, totally filled in, but then there are those other areas that are just blank, uncharted territory. That right there is the perfect way to think about the difference between known and unknown risks. So your known risks, those are the dangers you and your team have already spotted. You can see them on the map and you can make a plan for them. But the unknown risks, man, those are still out there, lurking in the fog. And this is why a huge part of risk management isn't just about reacting to what you see. It's about being an explorer, actively pushing into that fog to turn those unknowns into knowns. Now, as you're out there on your journey, identifying all these risks, where do you keep track of everything? I mean, you can't just keep it all in your head, right? Of course not. Every great explorer needs a logbook, one central place to write down everything they find. In project management, our logbook is called the risk register, and this thing is the absolute heart of tracking risks. It's a living, breathing document where every single potential threat and opportunity gets logged. And it's not just a simple list either. You're tracking crucial details like what's the likelihood of this happening? And if it does, what's the impact going to be? Okay, but this brings up a really critical question. Let's say you've done everything right. You identified a risk, you logged it in your register, you've been keeping an eye on it, and then it happens. The thing you were worried about becomes a reality. What do you call it then? It's not just a potential event anymore, is it? This little diagram shows that life cycle perfectly. You start with a potential risk, something that might happen. But the second that risk event actually occurs, boom, it completely transforms. It graduates from being a what if to something that demands your immediate attention. It becomes an issue. And there you have it, the official definition. An issue is simply a risk that has become real. It's no longer a what if scenario, it's a what now problem, or maybe even a what now opportunity that you have to deal with right now. Making this distinction is absolutely vital for clear communication and just, effective project management. So we've got all these concepts swirling around. Threats, opportunities, knowns, unknowns, issues. How in the world do we actually navigate this journey successfully? Well, the Project Management Institute gives us some core principles, kind of like the essential rules of the road for dealing with all this uncertainty. These principles are basically your compass. First off, just accept it. Uncertainty is everywhere. It's a constant, so you have to be proactive. Next, prioritize your risks. Not all of them are created equal, so focus on the big ones. And remember, risk management isn't something you do once and then forget about. It's a continuous, ongoing process. And just as important, always be on the lookout for those positive opportunities, not just the negative threats. And finally, you have to protect your reserves. That's your buffer, your safety net for when things inevitably go sideways. Look, if you only take one single thing away from all of this, let it be this quote right here. It really just captures the entire philosophy perfectly. It's all about looking ahead, exploring that map, and shining a light into those dark corners before you get there. Being proactive, that's the name of the game. And that brings us to the end of our little journey today. So I want to leave you with a final thought, something you can apply to your own projects. Go on, take a look at your own map. What's the biggest blank space on it? What's the biggest unknown you're heading towards? Because just identifying it, well, that's the very first step to conquering it.